Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and 30-year business coach. Listen in as amazing, world-changing authors, speakers, and coaches share their struggles and victories. And hear from best-selling authors' insight into how you too can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. Thanks for being with us here today. I so appreciate you. I'm so glad for every time we get an opportunity to be able to hang out together and to, go a little deeper in our lives and our business, to grow ourselves, to find the ideal for us. What is the ideal me? A lot of people try a lot of different things, and when it comes to life, sometimes we spend years in a career only to find out that really it more stresses us out than it really fulfills us. At other times, we find ourselves, working in a business, maybe even having massive amounts of success, but it's not really the ideal version of who I want to be in life. Some of you know what that feels like, and so maybe you're dealing with the interior stuff, the internal, the spiritual stuff in your life right now, dealing with who is it that I want to be? Who am I? What is my ideal life? Or maybe you've got some of that internal stuff done, but you need to look more at what is really truly my ideal business. What works for me? So often people start totally from scratch, but maybe having a franchise is better for you. So to help us with this, I've got some amazing experts to help us really dig into this concept of an ideal life. There's no right or wrong answer. It's not like if you just follow this 5-step program, you will have ideal life, because there are some programs to it, don't get me wrong. I know some really powerful ones, but every one of them is going to start with getting to know you. It's what is ideal for you that's what matters. It isn't about living the version of the ideal life that your parents said you should have, or the ideal life that the neighbors have, or the kids you went to school with have. It's about what works for you. Sometimes we have massively positive messages poured into us, and we aspire for more, we attain more, we achieve more in life. Other times, we have a lot of ick dumped on us, and we find ourselves believing less than in ourselves. It's so sad to see somebody that's so full of hope and promise that doesn't understand how amazing they are. And I hope you really, truly do see that in yourself, and you know that. So, the ideal life is made up of those two components. What is the best for you on the inside, and what business is best for you? Now, some people are going to start from scratch. You've got ideas, you're creative, those kind of things. Other people are going to buy an existing business. Other people, they want to start a new business, but they want to have more like a franchise model. Go and find a location and buy into a system that's already developed. It really just kind of depends on what's best for you. What kind of person are you? There's some good advantages in all of them. And again, like I said, there's not really a right or wrong answer. It really is just purely about spending the time with you to know you well enough to do what's best for you, so that you can move throughout this life living, breathing, and thriving as an entrepreneur and in your life. Thriving in your life and business is all about what we're here for to help you with. Today is no different. As we go on this great pursuit towards an ideal life. Now, I don't want to do something that's put up on a pedestal or impossible to attain, but just purely defining for ourselves what would be a great life for me. I hope you can go on that journey with me today as we pursue living as a thriving entrepreneur. We're going to take a commercial break and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call, yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven, it's guaranteed, it's gonna happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. All right, we're going to jump into this defining for yourself an ideal life. Again, I want to remind you there's no right or wrong answers. It's really just about getting to know what's going to work best for you. So #1 thing we always are going to start with when we talk about defining anything, a program, a system, but especially when we're talking about our ideal life, is we're going to dig deep. We're going to look into who are we and what would be best to do for us as the person that we are right where we are. So with that in mind, let's jump into our first guest. Join me in welcoming Marina Bruni. Hi, Marina. How are you doing today?
Hi, Steve. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor being here.
All right. Yeah, tell us a little bit about who you are and what got you to this point in your life.
Yeah, it's thank you for the question. It's an amazing journey. Probably not many people know that my background is in law. I'm actually a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for over 20 years. And I've been working in the corporate financial services environment, where, as you know from TV series and all the cliche, it's a very fast-paced environment, a very demanding type of lifestyle, if you will. And I was on that race very much. And I was one of those people who never missed a deadline in my entire career. That made me, well, sometimes I say that made me an overachiever, but probably if I got to that point, I was already an overachiever. But the point is that I've done that for so many years. At some point, my body couldn't take it anymore, and so my immune system shut down. And I ended up at the hospital and on a series of things, and then I was put off work in order to recuperate and recharge. And at that point, I asked a lot of questions. I asked myself a lot of questions, and I started rethinking my entire life. And is this what I really wanted? Why did it happen to me? I never get sick. So why did my body fail me? Which actually wasn't my body failing me, but it was just me not paying attention to all the signals that I was receiving. And so I embarked myself in my own discovery journey. And I started studying meditation and got into neuroscience and neuroplasticity, and all these kind of disciplines that open yourself, and they've started opening my soul. And so I got more, I really started thinking about the kind of legacy I wanted to leave and the kind of impact I want to make in this world. And of course, my first objective at the time was empowering myself back in the core of my or being, or my spiritual being, because we are spiritual beings. And I strongly believe that. And I strongly believe that the sooner we recognize that, the sooner we will get back into our own power, our full power. And so once I started recognize that for myself, and putting myself back into my power, where I completely reshuffled the relationship that I had with my work life, and with all my deadlines and projects and all those sort of things. Once I was able to do that, I started immediately look at the next step, which was empowering others, doing the same, not necessarily doing the same, but getting back into the power and living the life, creating the business, creating the reality that they really wanted according to their own terms. And so along that journey, then of course I had mentors, coaches, and I came across of amazing, interesting people. And one of the amazing people that I met is Doug Vermeeren, the producer of the movie How Thoughts Become Things. And I met Doug a few months ago. I mean, at that point, I was already off my long way of my journey, because that episode, my hospital visit, happened more than 10 years ago. And so yeah, I met Douglas, and we connected. I love this energy, and I attended a few of his events. And of course, we built up our business relationship, and he mentioned me the project of creating this movie, How Thoughts Become Things, that was meant to be the sequel to The Secret. And it was so fascinating. And I remember it was an afternoon over the phone, because, and I mean, he's based in Canada. I'm based in the UK. So it was a conversation over the phone. He was talking to me about the movie and the project and the mission and everything. And it was fantastic. And I had this thought that popped into my head. I was like, how cool would it be being in that movie? But I didn't say anything. And when he finishes talking, I said to him, yeah, that's really interesting. And as you know, it really ties in with what I teach, because I teach right brain, left brain integration strategies. And then he interrupts me and he says to me, well, you need to be in this movie. And now the rest is history. And it's been an amazing journey, an amazing experience so far. And I'm really grateful for that.
That is so amazing. So help us out a little bit here. How do we make that shift to interrupt all of the things that are happening in our life and really create a new thought and a new way of doing things in life?
That's an amazing question, a great question. And that's exactly where a lot of people, including a lot of clients that I have, struggle, because breaking the pattern is the most important thing, and yet the most difficult for most of us, because when you are on the hamster wheel that goes fast, so fast, you can even see a way out and you can even see a way to stop it. But actually, the easiest, the simplest, probably not easy, but simplest thing to do in order to stop that pattern and that speed is pause it. Pause for a second. Breathe. Just stop it. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking, whoever you are with, especially if you feel like overwhelmed, if you feel like, oh, I got so many things to do, I don't even know where to start by, I need to do everything because otherwise it's going to be the end of the world. No, it's not going to be the end of the world. Nothing's going to happen. Just pause for a second and focus on your breath. And that will calm you down. And once you calm down and more grounded, you can start looking at things in a different way, in a different perspective. But actually, the very first thing to do is just stop, take a moment, take a pause. Does it make sense? Does it resonate?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. A lot of times that's the biggest thing we can do is just stop and breathe.
Yes. And that's very powerful. I mean, it's not like, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm just stopped. That's really powerful because it's a space holder. And having a space holder, especially in our modern lifestyle where everything is fast, where we are in a doing mode, holding that space where we can actually slow down, we can make ourselves slow down. It's really important because that's the first step to reconnect us to our true nature. Because as we said at the beginning of this conversation, we are spiritual beings. That's our nature, spiritual beings. And because we are beings, our nature is be, just be. But we have lost that because we've got so used to do, think after thing. And if for some reason we don't do enough, we feel like we're worthless. But that's actually how can I say, that's a wrong frame of reference, because that has got us where we have lost track of who we are, and we are beings. And so if we start reconnecting with that, with our true nature, and allow yourself to just be, we can start feeling back our power.
What then, once we begin to regain our power, what can we actually find ourselves able to do?
Well, the sky is the limit, or even not even the sky. I mean, I strongly believe that we are divine beings, and therefore we are the powerful creators or co-creators together with Source of our own reality. So the moment we step back into our own power, we are really able to create our own reality as we want it, if we believe it. Because what we believe, that's where we focus our attention. And again, it circles back with the thoughts and the power of thoughts, because where you focus your attention means that's where your attention, where your thoughts go, basically. And where you focus your attention, that grows.
That is so powerful, to always remember that what we focus on grows. Absolutely. Yeah. So Marina, for people who want to dive deeper with you and have you actually help them reset their brain, do the brain shift, how would they work with you?
Well, there are different options that they can work with me. It depends of the type of work that they want to do, because I have classes where I teach. I have a coaching group where I teach actually it's my brain activation mastery program, The Power of Choice. And where I bring my students, I take my students throughout the process of let's say creation, where we go from step 1 to it's a 9-step to step 9, and at the end of the program of the 9th step, you are really able to make your own choice, always the right choice, the choice that is right for you at that time, with ease. Because after you've gone through that program, you are able to see things clearly and stay focused. You stop second guessing yourself. You stop analyzing and super analyzing the risk, because you know how to manage the risk. You know how to make your own decision. You know how to make your own choices, targeting, focusing exactly what is the outcome that you want. And of course, clarity on your outcome, because most of the time what happens is that people come to me with the idea that they want more freedom, they want more time, they want more happiness, they want more this and more that, but they don't know exactly what they want. Now, if we don't know what we want exactly, there's no way that we're gonna get it, because we don't know what that is. So that's one of the first steps, clarifying what we want, basically. So this is one way they can work with me. And then there is another way, more in depth, for those who are ready to go to the next level. It's a deeper energy work, because I work with the 5th dimensional type of energy. And what I do exactly is, let me take a step back, because I need to do a little bit of explanation here. As a spiritual being, as an energetic being, we are being given our own energetic blueprint at origination. Our energetic blueprint, think of it like it's our energetic DNA. Now, with the choices that we make, with the actions that we make throughout our lives, our life experiences, of course, some of the choices that we make are coherent with our blueprint energetics. Some of the choices and actions that we make are not coherent with our energetic blueprint. When we make choices that are not coherent with our energetic blueprint, what that does is that creates energy blocks and restrictions into our energetic blueprint. And that gets carried on throughout our life existence, throughout our all life experiences. And that's actually one of the main reason why sometimes we struggle. We struggle with creating the abundance and the prosperity that we want. It might have happened. It happens all the time to me, talking to people that said to me, "Oh, I keep doing affirmations, I keep doing vision board, I keep doing visualization, but nothing really happens." Yeah, there is some improvement, but not just quite yet. And that's because of all the blocks and restrictions that are accumulated into our energetic blueprint. Now, for those who are ready, what I do with them is looking at their energetic blueprint, see where those blocks and restrictions are, see what they are, and clear them. Now, once I've cleared them, that happens really fast. Once I clear them, those souls, those individuals are right back into the wonderful, powerful power. But of course, they need to maintain that, implementing a course of action, a course of choices that is in line with their energetic blueprint. And actually, for those who are ready to do this work, I work with them on a one-to-one basis by clearing their energetic blueprint first, and then working with them as their coach, so that they can progress in their journey as a whole spiritual, energetic, and human being, basically. Yes. And then with the businesses, I also work with the businesses as a business coach, helping them maximizing their income stream and leveraging the streams and the relationship that they already have, basically. So, yeah.
Perfect. And did you give us the URL for how they could contact you?
Yes, absolutely. They can look me up. My website is www.marinabruni.com, and feel free to send me an email at marina@marinabruni.com.
And that's spelled MARINABRUNI, correct?
Correct. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Marina, I really appreciate you spending some time here on the show with us today.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Did you get some good tips and tricks out of that? I hope you did. I hope it was really helpful, and that you're really now beginning to look at that internal stuff in you and beginning to define for yourself, what is my ideal life? What would be a great life for me? Think about that a little bit while we take a commercial break, and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur. We're talking about the ideal you, and we want to jump into our second guest to talk about business. What's going to be the best kind of business for you? What's going to really work best for you? Starting your own thing, buying a company, maybe the structure of somebody else's system in a franchise. We have a great expert that's going to talk to us about that, and I hope that you will take some time to really think about, again, what would create for you your ideal life. Let's go on to our next guest. Join me in welcoming Lance Graulich. How are you doing today, Lance?
Steve, I'm doing fantastic. So nice to be here.
Yeah, great to have you here with us. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you show up in the world.
Well, Steve, originally from Brooklyn, New York, grew up in Long Island. Always quickly got my economics degree when I got out of college and thought I was going to work on Wall Street and have a career following Dad in his footsteps. And quickly realized I needed to follow my grandfathers. Both of them were very entrepreneurial. My dad told me at a young age I might not be employable. And maybe that was why I was supposed to be working for him. But nevertheless, I headed to the West Coast, ended up in Phoenix with a family friend building a huge TGI Fridays franchise back in the late 80s. And we started with 4 locations and built that to 65, doing over $225 million in sales. And I said, I like the franchise business. I like the restaurant business. And, continued down that path for many, many years. And, I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes with partners. I was very aggressive. I was a hard charger. And I said, I have to get myself in a situation where I can help entrepreneurs like myself, number one, avoid the mistakes that I've made. Although I was very successful as a franchisee for various brands, which we can talk about, my partnerships were not very successful. And I learned a lot about that, and certainly had several different epiphanies along the way. And now today, I represent over 550 franchise brands, and I find people their perfect franchise. And along the way, I coach them. My services are free to those that engage me. I get commissions and get paid nicely by my brands when we are successful placing people.
Wow, that's really cool. So franchise, there's a lot about that, but just for people who, I don't know, they don't understand what franchising is, give us just a real brief rundown of what that is.
Yeah, Steve, that's one interesting thing I've found over the years. There's so many misconceptions about franchising, but franchising, simply put, is an agreement. It's franchising is regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, the federal government, and it's a system that someone has put together. And there's a franchise disclosure document that needs to be created. It's 23 items, and with that is a franchise agreement. Typically, a franchise agreement is for 10 years, and it's a system that somebody's put together. Let's talk about McDonald's, perfect example. Most people understand what McDonald's is, and McDonald's is a franchise. You pay a one-time franchise fee to McDonald's Corporation, and they train you, teach you everything. They give you the keys to the buying kingdom so you can buy your products, your meat, your filet of fish, your whatever products, paper products with a logo on them, all from approved McDonald's vendors. They'll approve your location. They'll support you along the way. They'll send you a franchise business consultant periodically to do inspections, make sure you're holding up corporate standards. There's a lot of control involved in a franchise. You cannot add hot dogs to the McDonald's menu unless corporate is doing that and it's been pre-approved. But it's a system of success is what I like to call it. And, people that want to create their own restaurant, or for that matter, any business, if you choose a franchise model, there is going to be a greater likelihood of success because you're following a brand that has a system established, that has marketing in place, that has certainly learned from their mistakes, you would hope. And, so there's great advantages. Companies like McDonald's are doing research and development on a regular basis, so you don't have to do that. But it's a conversation I have every single day with people because some people in conversations might say, Lance, I think I want to start my own concept instead of doing a franchise. Well, you certainly can, but how much is that really going to cost you? If you spend your first year trying to find yourself and figure out this concept that you've never done before. So that's kind of the 10,000 foot view, Steve.
So it encompasses so much, because I know that like there's a pretty high end net worth expectation for McDonald's.
Absolutely.
Versus, I was trying to think of something really obscure that people haven't thought of.
Well, Steve, I'll give you one. I have a crime scene cleanup brand.
Okay.
Crime scene cleanup, not to be, a downer on the call and mentioning something like that, but it's a needed service. Franchises in some cases have been born, franchise brands, because maybe there was a lot of mom and pops that were doing the service in different cities in America, but there wasn't a real structure or reliance or dependability or confidence in the marketplace. So this crime scene cleanup brand, a friend of mine is the CEO of it, and they're very successful in our portfolio. It needs to be an owner-operator. It's not like an investor can come in and hire somebody. You have to be an owner-operator. First responders do really well with it, but you don't need a high net worth. It's $83,000. Don't quote me, but it's within a couple thousand is their package today to get started. They might have 150,000 net worth requirement. That's including your home equity or, anything that you might have. And some people that don't meet the net worth requirements, just bring in a partner.
So for the most part, if somebody is thinking about starting a franchise, they need to be somewhere between the 80,000 and $1 million in total net worth.
Yeah, net worth on the low side. We have some brands that you could be worth, on the low end $50,000. I might have a few that on paper might tell you 25,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. But the bottom line is, if you really want to start, you want to do a franchise, there are ways to do it if you're the right individual.
Okay. So, and you said things are going crazy right now, which just leaves me totally curious, because we're in a state where, in a state all over the whole world,
yes,
where,
absolutely,
restaurants are closing and not allowed to be opened or limited capacity. So, what is the secret to why things are still going so great for you?
Well, look, in times of crisis, you see one of the sharks from Shark Tank, Mark Cuban, and various other, very public figures come out recently and say, in times of crisis, that's when there's a lot of people buying, number one. That wasn't the question you asked. The question you asked is, what is going on with restaurants? There are a lot of mom and pop restaurants that have completely suffered, and it depends on your model prior to the pandemic. I'll give you a perfect example. One of my ventures I was very successful with was Wingstop, and I bought into Wingstop before it was a major brand and people thought I was crazy, and it worked out well. However, Wingstop was incredibly successful, doing about 60% of their business, plus maybe 65% of their business was takeout or to go prior to the pandemic. So they were uniquely set up for success when the pandemic hit, because what ended up happening was, while there was no dine-in, they didn't do much dine-in business. So people just went digital. The ones that never did an online order would now do an online order and, come pick up their food. But if you were a mom and pop restaurant or any restaurant for that matter, and you were a sit-down restaurant, which did very little takeout business, you were dead in the water the minute the pandemic hit, because your customers were not going to adapt that quickly to going to a restaurant that they love and dining in and enjoying that experience that you might have in a dine-in experience versus takeout. And it wasn't that paradigm shift wasn't going to happen that quickly for these restaurants. So the restaurant business, I have plenty of brands that have done absolutely fine, almost no effect through the pandemic. And then there's others that are almost out of business because they didn't have enough cash flow to hold on and still have to make rent, even though in some cases they might have gotten some concessions. Now, obviously, I have quite a few hair salon brands, all the major hair salon brands that normally do very well. Clearly, during a pandemic, there's no business. There's no revenue. They were completely shut down. So what I meant by myself being incredibly busy is that, again, during times of crisis, I have people that have already been downsized from their corporate job because of the pandemic. And I have quite a few others that have not officially been downsized, but they don't necessarily like what's going on or the feeling they're getting. And, so they want to jump ship and be in control of their own destiny by getting into their own business. And obviously, most of these folks prefer franchises because, they can get into a business that isn't something they necessarily were doing for 20 plus years. I just placed a gentleman that was an executive of a major rental car company for 28 years. And I put him into a business he's never done before. 28 years at one company and boom, right into a franchise that he knows nothing about because it was a phenomenal model that he could understand.
Perfect. That's awesome. So I know I'm guessing part of what you then do is you take people who want to be the worker bees and combine them with people who have the net worth but don't really want to do the work. Is that part of what you do?
Yeah, I don't do that on a regular basis, but I have been successful with that in pairing people up. So that does work. What I typically do is I don't dare want to call it a starter franchise versus McDonald's, but I truly believe that there are opportunities for everybody. I do have franchises that are $25,000 that if you have some good sales ability, I mean, there's certain skills involved in certain brands, and this one is only $25,000, and they'll do a payment plan if you have a good down payment. And it's a successful brand. In fact, it's an Entrepreneur Magazine is one of the top advertising franchises out there, especially, I think they put it in the under $100,000 category. So I believe where there's a will, there's a way for the right individual. I have plenty of people that come to me that don't have sales ability, and that's okay. But that might eliminate certain franchises for you.
So what would be the steps a person would want to do to decide whether a franchise is right for them?
Well, as far as I go, I would love for them to visit my website. I have a free assessment on the website, which is actually pretty amazing. It takes you up to 15 minutes, depending, 10, 15 minutes. And really the beauty of the assessment, it's, the key is finding the right business and understanding what someone is compatible with and leveraging the skills. And most importantly, Steve, the mindset. Mindset is huge in, what is somebody's comfort zone? What is their risk tolerance? So in other words, am I putting somebody in a smaller emerging brand, which in my case, I joined Wingstop when it was a smaller emerging brand. There were plenty of other people that wouldn't have dared at that moment. And this isn't good or bad. This just is what it is. And then once you can do the free assessment. There are some people that opt out of the free assessment. It doesn't matter. I'll go through my series of questions. And what I do is I introduce people to brands I think they're going to be most suited for based on their investment level, based on their skills, mindset, the whole 9 yards. I'll line them up with financing. I have many franchise lenders, as you might have heard. The Small Business Association, the SBA, has come up with some great programs to stimulate business growth, including waiving, not deferring, but waiving the first 6 months of payments for people that get involved in especially a franchise. They love franchises. I think that deal ends the end of September. 6 months, no payments. I have a gentleman that just completed a transaction, and his note on a big restaurant is about $6,000 a month. So $36,000 waived for him completely.
Wow, you keep that up and I'm going to quit my company and go start.
Be happy to help you, Steve.
So you mentioned that you have a website, but you didn't tell us what it was.
Ion Franchising, ION, and then franchising, ing.com.
Perfect. And so what's a tip for somebody to just do the thing on your website, but also then what is something they need to have mindset wise in order to be able to be in the field that would be a franchisor?
Well, I certainly understand the mindset of a future franchisee. If it's we have a saying, my team and I, is it their first time to the rodeo? And the rodeo being exploration of businesses, first step towards being an entrepreneur. Because if it is, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary if you were a W-2 employee and you had an employer to rely on for many years, as opposed to venturing off on your own with no longer a set paycheck and what have you. So the first step is really having a conversation with me. There is some fear and trepidation that many people have in the first call or after the first call. And I try not to overwhelm them. I will pitch people on the first 4 or 5 businesses based on, and Steve, what I should also say, when people come to me, they usually fit in one of 2 categories. And I'm not talking financially, I'm talking about goals. People come to me and say, I really want a restaurant. And don't get me wrong, there are restaurants that you can start with as little as $50,000 out of your pocket and do really well with. I've just completed several deals on a little poke brand. Poke is a very hot concept today, ahi tuna, healthy and nice concept. But so people come to me with the mindset of, I really want a restaurant. What can I get? This is the amount of money I have. These are my skills. But then there's other people that come to me and say, well, I hate restaurants. I definitely don't want that. I definitely don't want this. What do you think someone like myself should be doing? I'm open, propose something to me. And then I just go into it for a deep dive. And because I've owned franchises, I've been there. I certainly understand what people are potentially most suited for. I mean, I'll give you an example. You talk about wanting to quit your job, Steve. I have a friend, I know you don't really want to, but I have a brand that will cost you $65,000 to start, a proven brand. $65,000, home-based, business to business. Of course, they're doing virtual meetings now. Before they were face-to-face with business owners. And there are franchisees that net income, $1 million a year.
Wow.
So it is astounding what you can produce. And a marvelous company. The founder is still involved. And it's something that my team, we do a lot of business with this brand because it is, I mean, look, you don't have to make $1 million a year, but to invest $65,000 a year and you work hard, the first year is always the hardest in any business. And, so maybe by year 2, you're making 150 or 200,000, 300,000, but look, in every brand, there's the top 10% of franchisees that are the high performers. And then there's the bottom 10% that just don't do that well. And it's like that in every brand from McDonald's to, my crime scene cleanup brand. That's just the way it goes.
Lance, I really appreciate it. I know there's some people that need to go out to Ion Franchising. That's ION franchising.com. Fill out the the survey and, go deeper with you. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here today.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me, Steve.
That was some great stuff. I love it when I have a guest on and by the end of it, I'm like, do I want to completely change my business to go for what they were talking about? That was really some good stuff. I hope it gave you some ideas now of what you can do so that you can live your ideal life in a way that really powerfully, impactfully works for you. Maybe a franchise is a better idea. Maybe taking a system that somebody else has created and then just really maximizing it for the best use for you is the best way for you to live as a thriving entrepreneur. It's something to consider anyway. I hope that you will. We're going to take our last commercial break and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
author who's on a mission. Stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. I'm so glad to have you here with us. Did you come to some solutions, or maybe have something at least that you can begin to contemplate now about your ideal life? What would be best for you? I mean, ultimately, that is the quote-unquote right answer, is just simply what would be best for you. Where you are now, where you are today, it can change. Our lives change over time. You may be headed down a course, you may have gotten a degree in something, and maybe you'll come to a point where it's time to change. Maybe you never will. Maybe you'll work in that same job your whole life and be completely fulfilled about it. And that's all that really matters, is to find yourself really feeling complete and fulfilled in what you're doing. That's what I want for you. I just want you to thrive in your life and your business. And anything that I could do to help with that, absolutely, I am always here, 100%, to help you really thrive in all that you do. Whether that be off up in the mountains, taking some time away for solace, or that be hard driving entrepreneur, getting it done, working way too many hours a week. You know what they say, being an entrepreneur is the only place where you can trade a 40-hour-a-week job to work 70 to 90 hours a week. Most of us, we do it because we love it. It's what we're passionate about. It's how we do that thing that we know we're meant to do in the world. And however that shows up for you, I'm just here today to encourage you to really, truly live the ideal and best life for you. What is your ideal life? Have you ever actually even thought about that? I know sometimes, and maybe this is just the culture I grew up in, but I bet you did too. Sometimes we find ourselves living with the message that our ideal life isn't something we deserve, if you know what I mean by that. Are you following me on this? We feel like there are things that we're supposed to do, things that we have to do, but it's selfish to spend time really focused in on what would I like to do? What do I want to do? I'm here to tell you that that's not selfish at all. In fact, you're doing the world a great service if you will spend the time to define who you are and what ideal would look like for you, so that you truly are living, breathing, thriving in all that you do in life. It's important. It's important to the world, because then you'll get it done. Then you'll make the difference that only you can make in the world, because the mission of your life. I use the phrase mission driven a lot lately, and I want to be sure that I'm clear. Mission driven doesn't mean that, you have a ministry or, it's something religious in nature by any means. It's just purely, what is that thing that gets you up in the morning? What is it that drives you to move, to grow, to breathe, to succeed in your life, in your business. I would love to be a part of helping you really facilitate that for yourself, to really show up to at the end of your life. Because here's the thing, we've talked about this before, right? When you come to the end of the race of your life, you're going to be the winner. You will be victorious. You will be the person who crosses and breaks the tape on the race of your life. You also get to be the person who decides just how big of a victory it is. Did you overcome massive obstacles and make great strides, break records for you? Or did you settle for less than you knew you could do? You know what? I don't even say that from a place of judgment. I'm trying really hard in my life to not live in a judgment place, but just simply to be able to say to you, hey, whatever you decide, whichever direction you go, that's good. That's more than enough. That is clear, concise, powerful, impactful, effective. You love all those powerful words? It's just a matter of making the choice for yourself. What is your ideal life? And then living it powerfully, diving into it deeply, swimming in it until you get all pruny, so that when you cross that finish line at the end of your life, you can wear the victor's crown of a life lived on purpose as the person that you know you are in your ideal life. Because here's what I know about you. I know that you are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose, and the world needs you. Please know that I'm here to help you any way that I can to reach that. One of those things, you've heard the commercials. I'm here to help you share your message with the world so that people hundreds and thousands of years ago know about you, but so that people living right here, right now, can live better lives. They can thrive in their life because you shared that thing that you do. Yeah, it's probably that thing that you do so easily and so well that you've discounted it. You don't even realize how impactful and how powerful that is. You're saying to me right now, but Steve, everybody can do that. I'm here to tell you that both there is people who can't and don't, and the way that you do it is unique and special and brilliant. There's nobody else like you. And so please show up in this world 100% as you, living your ideal life, as we all strive together, as we live and move and breathe in our journey towards becoming and living a thriving entrepreneur. I hope you will embrace that. I hope that you will see that happening in your life this week as you move through the week. And that as these days pass by until we're together again next time, that you'll have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com, schedule a talk with Steve, Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.